clearly it's not that original. I mean, obviously it owes a debt to Blair Witch. There's a whole bunch of movies coming up which are on that kind of video footage format. There's a Spanish horror movie coming out called Rec, R-E-C, as in record, which is very good. There's Diary of the Dead, which is the new George Romero film, which again is done as a kind of, as a video diary. In fact, even when Blair Witch came out, there was another movie around about the same time called The Last Broadcast, which was a similar. So this idea has been around for a long time. But that said, they do it rather well. I mean, the idea that you've got this videotape that was made by these annoying people at this party, and then all the rest of the carnage, what happens as New York falls apart and is ravaged by, well, we're not allowed to tell you because that's half the campaign. What is it? Is all just captured on handheld grimy video, and they do that rather well. If you couldn't see from very early on what the final shot of the movie is going to be, you're just not trying. But I think it was quite impressively nihilistic, in as much as you have all these people who are fairly annoying, but then when the stuff starts flying around, the movie is quite cavalier about who cops it and how they cop it and all that sort of stuff. As far as the themes of the film is concerned, obviously it owes a massive debt to Gojira, and also I think to Bong Joon-ho's movie The Host. Plus there's a little bit of things like The Day After Tomorrow, because with the desecration of the Statue of Liberty, there's quite a lot of War of the Worlds. And one of the things that War of the Worlds did, the Spielberg movie, was it took that kind of extraterrestrial attack and turned it into a very much a post 9/11 thing. So there was lots of scenes of Tom Cruise running around with stuff happening around him that seemed eerily reminiscent of the footage that we all saw after 9/11, specifically the clouds of kind of smoke coming down, the kind of the tiny, almost like a fall of snow. Well, there's an awful lot of that in Cloverfield, and it's quite deliberately there. They know it's there, and it's used quite well. The other thing which is two saving graces, one of them is the film's 84 minutes long, and I figure 6 of those minutes are credits, which means it's a snappy, punchy movie. It's got one idea to it. People in a party, this bad thing happens, they rush out into the street, they can't quite tell what's happening, but the world is exploding around them. So it's nice and snappy. On the downside, the lead character then decides to go back into the disaster area to go and find his girlfriend Beth, and that I don't believe in, nor indeed do I believe in the bit in which the helpful soldier explains to them how they might be able to do that and get out. But hey, it has to make some concessions towards melodrama, and in a way that was slightly its undoing, but it's fine. The other thing which I really like about it is at no point does a scientist come on with a clipboard called, Dr. Von Plot Explanation and go, oh yes, well what actually happened was we did nuclear testing and the monster is... No, never. You never find out what it is, why it is. Why it's happening. Exactly. All you know is that the catastrophe has been given the code name Cloverfield, and at the beginning it says area formerly known as Central Park. So you know that Central Park doesn't exist by the time the thing... And the idea that it's called Cloverfield makes it seem like somehow the military are to blame, which obviously, as I said, hints towards Godzilla, which was very clearly a film about American nuclear testing, and hints towards The Host, which is very clearly a film about waste being, bunged out into the river in Seoul. So all those things are in it. Its weaknesses are just how annoying and faceless those characters are at the beginning, because I think if you're over 20, I mean, how old are you? 50 or something?
Thanks.
Thanks. No, it's a gag.
Thanks.
I was making a gag. You're
34.
Like... Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm nearly 50. And for me, those people are just more annoying than a...
It could have been 10 minutes shorter. I mean, clearly
exactly.
It's only clocking in at 84, but it could have been 74. So you need to have 20
minutes of them being really, really annoying. But for the 50-year-olds amongst us, it's, they are really, really annoying. The other thing is, as I said, it does have some concessions towards melodrama, and it is deeply derivative. But hey, it's a good popcorn movie. It's got good scares in it. The monsters owe a lot to Aliens. I mean, it's a hodgepodge of all the movies that it owes things to. But in the end, it does the job. It's drop your popcorn. The 9/11 stuff is there. And it's squishy when it needs to be, and it's pretty nihilistic and relentless, and it really, when it wants to kick it, it does.
It was quite interesting when we had the director on a couple of days ago. He was saying how you had to train the cameramen and women to miss when they were filming it. The whole point is that you don't quite see everything.
Oh, so fine, yeah,
he
sure.
said, no, that's too perfectly shot. We need to miss.
You need to miss the thing.
We need to miss some stuff. And it is very claustrophobic and chaotic and very exciting.
It is exciting, isn't it?
But when it stopped. Okay, we've got to keep run with the game on this.
Yeah.
When you finally do see everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit disappointing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because when you did finally see everything, I thought, oh, that's interesting. You've watched The Host.
I quite like not seeing everything.
No, okay, well that's fine. But there's a substantial portion of the movie in which you don't see anything other than the occasional tentacle, and you're not even sure what it is.